I'm making this quick video as part of our DP Langston Hughes unit because many students are out of date and I don't want them to fall behind. So we actually analysed two poems today, the first of which was Harlem. Now it's an interesting title. Obviously the poet, Langston Hughes, is a part of the Harlem Renaissance, a literary movement that come out of Harlem, a black ghetto in New York in the 1920s. It was a renaissance, so it was at a period of like art and culture just exploding, going off, because there's a bit more money than usual. But it ended in the 1930s because of the Great Depression. So it's called Harlem. Now it's important to note this is a ghetto. This is a black ghetto, so it's where black people were pushed historically. They were marginalised, they were put there, and they were often forgotten about, excluded by the government, and it was led to become, dilapidated in parts, decay, to not have as much money in it. So it's called Harlem. That is important. It starts, what happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? So it's an interesting little poem. Obviously, it opens up with this rhetorical question: what happens to a dream deferred? Obviously, important. It's the first line. It's a normal line. We've got some cacophonic sounds. We've got this sort of harsh D sound, which we'll see at the beginning and the end of the poem. We've got this rhetorical question. The speaker is asking this question: what happens to a dream deferred? What happens when the dream, possibly the American dream, the idea, if you work hard, you can become successful, is pushed back for later? This is a group of people who are enslaved. Obviously, if we take the author being black and possibly the speaker being black, the American dream being delayed because of the slavery. The country was born out of this idea of freedom, but not free for slaves. And then even after they got their freedom, for many, they were still ignored. They were marginalised. They were forgotten about. There were Jim Crow laws in the South, etc. We've got the rhetorical question. Why are they asking a question that's not being answered? Are they ignored? Are they marginalised? And then we go to the rest of the poem. What's interesting here is it's what we call offset lines. So they're literally like pushed to the side. And one student today actually said, perhaps they're offset lines because these people are physically pushed in society. They're marginalised. They're pushed away from the normal sort of part of society. And I thought, that was quite interesting. Maybe the structure actually reflects the way these people are pushed around. And they talk about this dream. Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stick like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? And we've got a lot of these rhetorical questions, three more. So again, is he asking them because he's being ignored? Is no one answering back? Or is he asking them possibly because he himself or herself is looking for these answers? Or maybe there's another reason, I don't know. We've got all this imagery here: raisin, sore, rotten meat, crust, sugar, syrupy sweet. And what I find quite interesting, again, this is from a student today. We've got raisin, sweet, it's a fruit. We've got sugar, we've got syrupy sweet. So I've got all this sweet stuff on the outside. And then in the inside, festering sores, rotten meat stinking, crust. And on the outside, like I say, we've got something sweet. On the inside, beneath it, decay, disgust, horrible stuff. And one student said, well, maybe that reflects American society, where on the outside it looks like it's really good, but on the inside we've got decay and like things eroding and being disgusting and dying. Like these people are forgotten about. They're on the inside of society, they're forgotten about them, where everything on the outside looks really, really good, like gives the appearance of looking good. And I was like, it makes sense. This is actually a technique we might call chiasmus, where we have it's a Greek sort of rhetorical technique where the outsides encase the middle. So it's like A, B, B, A is a form of that chiasmus. We've also got, again, the s, 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 and then again finishing with the So we've got these cacophonic sounds on the outside and softer sibilant sounds on the inside. And again, coming from a student today, perhaps it's like the outside is more aggressive and it's pushing people, these people on the inside, these people who are festering like I saw, they're decaying, they're forgotten about. Perhaps they're being pushed in by these aggressive sounds on the outside, maybe. And again, we're talking about this dream, a lot of metaphors for it. So we've got all similes. Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Like what happens to it if you leave this dream? Will it be forgotten about? Will it dry up? Will it be forgotten? Will it lose its mass? Or will it fester like a sore? Will it become a sickness? If we ignore these people, will it grow into a sickness or stink like rotten meat? Again, will it have this decay? Will people be really, really upset and like something negative grow out of it? Or will it be forgotten about and ignored and continue to be like plastered over like a sugary sweet, something over the top of it to hide the reality? Or maybe it just sags. Maybe this dream sags like a heavy load. Maybe it just becomes deflated. If you ignore these people, if you stop giving them the American dream for long enough, it just sags, you know, like a balloon deflating. And then we get this last line, or does it explode? It's a line on its own. You know, if we're looking at these stanzas, 1, 2, 3, and then we've got this single line on its own. Does it explode? Another rhetorical question. This one seems a little bit more accusative. Does it explode? This is a threat. If you don't include us, if you forget about us, if you continue to defer our dream, maybe there'll be violence. And that's how the poem could be read as it finishes. We've also got, again, breaking the conventions with the italicized line here, maybe for emphasis, but maybe, again, something's broken. Something's been pushed even further. We've gone the offset, now we're pushed again to the italics. Keep pushing us, there's going to be violence, is another reading of that. The last thing you might want to read of, you know, for the most part, it's a decent little metrical and rhythmic poem with rhyme. We've got dry up, sun, run, soar, over, meet, sweet, sags, load, explode, right? We've got these rhymes in there, like load, explode, sweet and meat, run and sun, soar and over is a slant rhyme. But then we got the meter as well. Some lines have like a really good metrical pattern. Does it stink like rotten meat or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? This line feels like there's too many syllables in there. But we've kind of got a nursery rhyme-like vibe. It's quite playful, it's quite jolly. And the reality, it's about a dream dying, about things decaying, it's about death. We've got horrible sounds. We've got maybe threats of violence at the end. And perhaps the simplistic rhythm and the rhyme and the metrical pattern is like the American dream, or maybe it's just there to cause a jarring effect. What do you think, guys? Let me know in the comments. Cool. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell button or whatever. Ta-da.